with John Brown and Nick Durst, live on the UCY.TV network.
Spanning your radios, coast to coast and all around the globe, it's sports, politics, and more right here on the UCY.TV networks, and of course available via TuneIn. And tonight, spanning your radios, coast to coast and all around the globe, right here, live on the UCY.TV networks, also available on the TuneIn app. It's sports, politics, and more. I'm your host, Nick Durst, and joined, as always, the co-host of this program, John Brown. John, what's going on?
Not much, Nick. How are you? How'd you get in tonight?
Tonight, as everyone knows, me and John, we both work in Manhattan. We go through the Lincoln Tunnel to get home, and what a disaster it is just to get through that tunnel every day. And one of the major issues is just actually getting into the tunnel. It's always so backed up.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And you know what? At least I'm on the bus. I get to go on my laptop. I get to go on my phone, mess around on Twitter, so it's not as bad. The people that drive in the city every day, they're crazy. I don't know how they do it.
It's a lot of money, and I don't have the patience for that. At the end of a long work day, I want to just sit there and relax. And then actually at work today, we had Sterling Shepard at my office, so that's pretty cool. New York Giant wide receiver. But we have a huge show for you tonight. It's Sports, Politics, and More, episode 12, and we have a very special guest, and this is where we're going to put the emphasis on the more in our title tonight. Robbie Padovano from The Real World Bad Blood. The show, MTV staple, Real World, airs Wednesdays at 10/9 Central. That's tonight. And Robbie will be joining us in a few minutes. We'll be talking about the show and his career. And we're going to talk a little sports with him. He's from New Jersey, Marlborough, I believe. And I actually know his family, so we'll get into that. And it should be a pretty great interview. So if anyone has any questions for Robbie, we're going to answer them as many as we can. You could type that in the UCY lobby chat, or you can tweet us. My Twitter is at Nick_Durst, D-U-R-S-T, and John's Twitter is at SI_sports. As simple as that. Send your questions there. We will answer as many as we possibly can. But John, we got to start off with what is happening in Cleveland. And we're not talking about the World Series right now, where the Indians are up 1-0 but losing in this game to the Cubs. We got to talk about the disgraceful New York Knicks, and they did exactly what we were expecting from this season. Isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I never drank the Kool-Aid on this team, and I drink quite a bit of Kool-Aid. If anyone listens to our football picks, she'll know that I pick the Giants almost every week. If you listen to our baseball preview before the MLB season started, I picked the Mets to win. So I am very much a biased fan, but I'm not.
That's a little quick spoiler alert, though. But we do our NFL picks at the end of the show, and there's a really good chance John picks the Giants to win. So look forward to that.
It's always I always pick them, but I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid on this team. Everyone knows that I am a Porzingis lover, a Melo hater. But Derrick Rose is made of glass. There's really nothing to this team. Like maybe if a lot of things broke the right way, they could be the 8th seed and lose in the first round of the playoffs. But that's not going to happen. Derrick Rose is going to play 30 games.
Derrick Rose is going to get hurt. There's no shot they make the playoffs, I don't think. They were actually tied at halftime, which is pretty amazing. I didn't watch much of the game because I kind of knew the result was going to happen, and I was watching a little more of the World Series, catching up on my other regular DVR shows. Man, I love the CW, all the superhero shows. I was catching up on Supergirl, Flash. But anyway, from what I was hearing today with the little water cooler talk at work, was for some reason Derrick Rose, who was a terrible three-point shooter throughout his career, decided that it was a good time to redefine his game and start taking as many threes as possible instead of playing point guard and passing to a wide-open Porzingis. And he kept missing threes. Porzingis was open. Just a waste of a 7'3" big guy who could shoot a three.
Yeah, once again it comes down to I know there's a lot of people like triangle or whatever, but it's not necessarily the triangle. We have to run a offense. This team hasn't run an offense since Jason Kidd was running the point. That was the last time we had like a legitimate. We had a pick and roll. We had a nice outside shot game going on. We moved the ball around. That was the year that JR won six man of the year. Since then our offense has essentially been let's try to pick and roll, but if they break it up, we'll give it to Melo and everyone just run away.
Yeah, definitely not. There's no light at the end of the tunnel, at least this season for the Knicks, as far as I'm concerned. I think you're concerned. I just hope that some of these guys that are like deeper on the bench, that are like young guys, actually get a chance to shine. Like I know you don't follow too much college basketball. I'm not a college basketball expert either, but do you remember like maybe 2 years ago when Wichita State was like 30-1 or something like that? Well, we have like their star player on our team now, undrafted, or maybe they got him in the second round. Ron Baker, he's a shooting guard, point guard. So, but the Knicks, I think it would be great to play him. But the Knicks, other than Porzingis, they never play their young players. It makes no sense.
Yeah, a great example of they're not good at evaluating talent is look at the year they let Jeremy Lin just rot on the bench, and now he's been around the league quite a bit, but he's not necessarily a superstar like we thought he'd be, but he is absolutely an NBA player. And if we didn't lose 50 games that year, he would have never even gotten a chance.
Yeah, and Jeremy Lin, he's a very serviceable guy now, and he's in Brooklyn right now, and I think he's going to have a pretty good year. And it's mind-boggling that the Knicks did not re-sign him.
Well, here's what Jeremy Lin gives you. He actually rebounds really well for a point guard, which is bizarre. I think he just gets in the good position. He's not a great defender, but he's a scoring option off the bench. And teams in the NBA, they want that. They want that so bad. Just somebody. So if you're playing a team that matches up well against you, and they take away your number one scoring option, and you go to that second tier, and the second tier can't score, which happens to the Knicks every year, then you become really stagnant, and you have to play Melo harder. It's it's kind of a thing.
Yeah, and another basketball news, surprisingly, the greatest team of all time lost last night in Knick fashion to the Spurs. Very surprising, very shocking. But now that the opening nights of the NBA season are over, we don't have to talk about the NBA really until maybe the All-Star break. And then after that, there's nothing to look forward to until the postseason. We know already the Cavaliers are probably winning the East, and we know the Warriors, even though they lost last night, are definitely winning the West. So it's really just a question of who is going to play the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. People say the Clippers. I'm in agreement with that. And the East, who's going to play the Cavs? I think the Celtics actually have a legit chance. If they had a superstar player, if they were able to get one, I would say they could actually beat the Cavs. Because the Cavs, to me, are still just LeBron. But they got a lot of good bench players, good depth there. All right, so here we have it. It's 8:09. We have our special guest coming up tonight on the show, Robbie Padovano. Be here any minute now. John's actually calling him as we speak through Skype, so hopefully we don't have any phone difficulties. And we're going to have Robbie on to talk about the Real World, which he's on, and you can catch that tonight at 10/9 Central on MTV. The Real World Bad Blood. I don't even know what season number this is, but it is taking place in Seattle. And yeah, if you have any questions for Robbie, we'll feel free. We'll answer them. Feel free to send them in at the UCY.TV lobby chat if you're listening that way, or if you're on TuneIn, you could send us a tweet. I'm at Nick_Durst, and John is at SI_sports, and that's the best way to reach us. We'll be able to answer any questions you have for us, which I don't think you'll have many, or we're going to answer your questions for Robbie, which I'm sure you're all looking forward to. John, everything going okay with there at the phones?
Oh, absolutely. I'm trying to not have to deal with the craziness that we normally deal with, so I'm doing it right the first time.
All right.
That's why it's taking a little bit longer. But
all right,
this should be it.
All right. So as you all know, we've had well-documented phone issues. And
Robbie.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Robbie, welcome to the show. I'm Nick.
I'm John.
What's up, Nick?
How
you guys doing?
We want to welcome you to the program. We really appreciate you coming on. And before I even get this interview started, why don't you let everybody know where they could find you on social media. Let them know about your website, your YouTube page, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. Heck, if you want to let them know where your LinkedIn is at to make a LinkedIn business connection, feel free.
My man. So it's pretty easy. Everybody go on your social medias and you go to your search bar, you search MASEROBBIEE. Maserati. I'm on everything and anything from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. My YouTube channel is taking off as the weeks are progressing with, Real World Bad Blood. It's actually season 32, so it's been there for a while. I'm really focusing on my YouTube channel, really trying to boost that up. I have videos, recaps coming up after every show, and just days in the lives of me, Maserati.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's where you can find them. It's simple as that. You search Maserati, everything's going to pop up. Me and John have been checking out your YouTube page. Some great stuff on there. You recently just did the Toys R Us corporate event with your DJ company. So before we even get into the show, why don't you let everybody know about your company and your career right now?
So I work for a company. We're based out of Red Bank. It's called Hurricane Productions. I've been with them for, I don't even know now, almost 6 years. And they're great guys. Vinny Strato are the owners and operators of the company. And we got some great employees working for us. We do a lot of stuff, a lot of corporate events, a lot of private events. And now, since me being on the show, we're going into, the club sector. I've always been in the club scene, but, now we're trying to hit it a little bit harder and, take the world by storm.
Excellent. So there you have Hurricane Productions. Check it out. And if anyone wants to book you guys for an event, I'm sure you'll be able to do that through the company website. Is that correct?
Correct. Everything and anything from weddings to sweet 16s to backyard parties. Just, you fill out a little info sheet and we get back to you within about 24 hours.
All right, excellent. All right, so Robbie, let's talk a little bit about the show. Obviously, airing tonight at 10/9 Central. It'll be the 4th episode. Tonight, the Bad Blood arrives. But first, what made you want to go on the show? Did you watch previous seasons?
I have watched previous seasons. Coming up in high school, I always watched, everybody knows the show, Jersey Shore. So I'm pretty much a product of my environment. I saw these guys on there. I saw Mike. I saw Paulie. I saw Vinny, Ronnie. I saw these guys. And, I don't know if I could really relate to what they were doing at the time because I was so young, but I always looked at these guys and I was like, this is great. This is going to be a lot of fun. I definitely got to do something like this when I'm of age. So Real World was the only real show that I ever really considered going on. Filled out an application online about 2 years ago. I went to last year's casting call and went through the process. They ended up not taking me for that season, kept me in mind. I got a phone call saying that they were going to be in New York. Went to New York, went through the casting process with one of the casting directors, Booker, great guy, and they ended up taking me and running with me all the way to Seattle.
Awesome. And so with the casting process, you said it started 2 years ago when you were sending stuff out. So how did that work? You had to fill out a form, or did you just send like a tape of yourself?
I wish I could say it was more difficult, but I kind of went on MTV's website. I looked under casting calls, and I saw MTV's Real World. I filled out the app, and then I received an email, and then you just follow the prompt, and you go to a few interviews. You send in a home tape once they take you that far, and then you keep moving.
All right, so there you have it, everybody listening out there at home. If you want to be in the real world, it might be as simple as that. Probably not. You have to have a good personality. And once again, if anybody has any questions for Robbie, we're going to ask him them. So just send us a tweet. I'm at Nick_Durst, and John is at S_sports, or write to us in the UCY lobby chat. So you said Real World was the only show you considered going on. And obviously, Jersey Shore influenced you there, probably the greatest reality show of all time. Did you have a favorite season of The Real World? And what other reality shows do you happen to watch or like?
Favorite season? It's really hard to say which one was my favorite because each season has a different storyline, has different people from different walks of life. So it's kind of like you sit here and, every season is separate in its own way, but, you build a relationship through TV, through these people, seeing how they live out their daily lives and what they have going on in the house and stuff like that. So I don't have just one favorite season, but, if I ever get the opportunity to go on a challenge and, being able to see some of the guys and girls that I've watched on TV, that'd be really cool.
Right, so that was going to be one of our other questions, and I think we know the answer, is would you want to go on a challenge? I think we could say yes. I think most people probably would that go in the real world. Is that correct?
I mean, a lot of people would probably just fill out the application for Real World for the opportunity to go onto the challenge. They did a great job marketing both shows, and, you go on Real World and your reward is possibly being able to go on the challenge.
Yeah, I'm a big challenge fan. I think it's really unfortunate now that there's so many Are You the One people on the show. Much better with the Real World crew. You get to know people over the years. But you said you'd be great to go on the show, interact with those people you watched for years. Are there any people from any other seasons that you've been able to connect with and become friends with since being on the show this season?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't really interacted with too many other seasons. I do remember during the premiere, though, Jay from a previous season.
I was just going to ask you, Jay. Yeah, you guys, very, very similar backgrounds. He's in the club scene, DJing, emceeing. So I was going to ask you if you guys had any relationship.
We tweeted back and forth a little bit. That was about the extent of that, and then. That's about it with the interactions as far as past seasons. I think once the season, continues going on, I'll be able to interact with past seasons, hopefully, be able to talk some smack with, Bananas and CT and all those guys, the real OGs.
That'd be great to see you talking some smack with the biggest heel in the industry, Johnny Bananas.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the casting process. You said it was, 2 years ago that you filled everything out. So what was your reaction when you actually found out that you were being cast?
So I'll give you the short story to a long story. I was at my warehouse where, the company keeps all their equipment. We're loading up. MTV gave me a call saying, hey, by any chance you have some free time today to do a Skype? I was with my bosses, and I was like, listen, I'm really pressed for time. I got to get this event set up, I'm really cramming. They're like, oh, well, we really need to talk to you. My bosses, they were just like, Robbie, set the time, we'll take care of it, we'll make sure everything's set up, and just take the Skype call. I'm actually at a venue sitting in some, like a bridal suite or something. I have the Skype up, I'm sitting there waiting. They have me sitting on the phone with a black screen on Skype for about 20 minutes waiting for somebody to come and say something, and they broke my chops a little bit, asked me what would happen if I got on the show, how excited would I be, would it be life-changing, all these crazy questions, and then they finally came out and said, congratulations, you made season 32.
That must have been, they must have been trying to make you sweat so they could record you and
believe me, I was sweating bullets. I don't know what was more more stressful, waiting to see if everything got put together for the event downstairs, or me waiting to find out the news. And then once I found out the news, I kind of just lost my mind. I went crazy. I called everyone and anyone. I was like, I'm going. Called like my close friends and family that knew that I was in the casting process and there was an opportunity that I'd possibly be on the show. As you guys probably already know, a lot of stuff is kept on the wraps. A lot of stuff is, do not say, do not speak on. So I really didn't get to tell too many people. So when I left to go out to Seattle, people were like, "Where's Robbie? We haven't seen him in days." Now it's
all social media. Everyone's probably like, "What's going on?" When you're off social media, and you mentioned that you told your friends and family. Actually, I actually know quite a few members of your family, close family friends with the Baldinos. So we have a bunch of mutual friends on Facebook. Yeah, used to go on vacation with them to Delaware all the time in the 90s. My father's very close with Mike, so I do know some of your family, cool. Which is a small world, but that's what happens with us New Jersey and New Yorkers. Very close-knit over here on the East Coast.
Everybody knows everybody. Some way, somehow, everybody knows somebody.
Exactly. So as soon as you were told that you were going to be on the show, how long was it before you actually left to go to Seattle, and when did they tell you that you'd be going to Seattle?
Let me think back. How long did it... I think it was like a 10-day turnaround. They told me, and I was gone in 10 days. Yeah, it wasn't a long process. I was there and gone.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah. So fortunate enough that your boss will just we'll just let you go. Obviously, great experience.
Yeah.
So
when I came to the company a few years earlier, they always knew that I had the drive to be on some type of reality TV show. I always wanted to be in the limelight. So this was the way of me paving the way to my dream. This isn't it for me. This isn't just a one show and then, after the 13 weeks, go back under the rock I came out of. But, I plan on, expanding, hopefully going on a few more shows, not just, Real World and like the challenge and stuff like that, but hopefully I get some spots on some other shows and, start traveling a little bit more, DJing more and stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Hopefully, the show gets you a bit more exposure. And like you mentioned earlier, that's what Paulie D was able to do with the Jersey Shore. And look at him now. He's much richer than the three of us combined.
$24 million richer.
Oh, yeah. And he gets to live in Vegas for free. So you get cast for the season. You obviously seen the last 3 seasons where they were all twists.
Yeah.
Did you know there was going to be a twist going into this?
I kind of had a hunch once I was at the house, and just things didn't add up. And, we all started talking. We all had a feeling that there was somebody coming for us. And, that's what happened. And I guess we came home one day and we saw Out Bad Bloods, as you'll see tonight. And as the season unfolds, you'll see what happens when, Out Bad Bloods. I guess the cat is out of the bag. My ex-girlfriend ends up moving into the house with me, which was an extremely uncomfortable situation. But, we worked through it. And, we
have a question now from a listener. Because obviously you had to end up living with your ex-girlfriend. Would you rather been on this season or the prior season, Go Big or Go Home, since you did try out for that one as well?
Let's see. Go Big and Go Home, I would have probably had more fun. I do like doing stuff on the edge and, doing crazy stuff. So I think the energy level would have been different on that show. It's extremely uncomfortable living with an ex and, with anybody from your past. So I don't think anybody would ever really want to be put into that situation.
Yeah, definitely. The big question that comes from this here is, like, how did they go about casting the Bad Blood? Like, was your ex-girlfriend auditioning too, or like, did you mention her in the original audition that they were able to find the Bad Blood?
When I was going through the interview process, they asked me for people that I had bad blood with, people that hated me and disliked me, and that I have a problem with, and I was falling out with someone. There's probably people that don't like me and hate me and all that, but I don't really ever pay attention to that. So I didn't have a name to give them. So I said, here's a list of my ex-girlfriends. These are probably the girls that hate me the most, and they stumbled across Jen.
Wow. All right, so yeah, and it's kind of funny how all of the Bad Blood thought that I guess MTV would actually just randomly reach out to them and say, "Hey, we have a show. Would you be interested in it?" And it seems, I mean, it could be wrong, it could be just being portrayed this way on TV, that they were actually clueless that they were actually going to end up being on the Real World. They actually thought that MTV was randomly reaching out to them to be on some new show.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was just, you wanted to hear what you wanted to hear, and I think I would have been in denial if I was in the other way around. I'm coming into someone else's house. I'm coming into someone else's territory. Why would you ever want to believe that? You would really want to think you're going on your own adventure.
Yeah. So Robbie, without giving away any spoilers, one of the things that really made Jersey Shore get crazy popular, maybe you remember this, was Snooki at the bar stealing that guy's shots and then getting punched in the face. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that.
Is there anything like that coming up? Is there any crazy defining moment?
Crazy defining moment. I don't know. That's a huge level to live up to. Is Snooki getting hit in the face by a male, and that's some serious stuff. You don't lay your hands on a woman. There's never any reason to do that, and that's a situation in itself. So I don't know if we have anything equally as bad, but we definitely talk on some really, really important topics, and we get into some really deep stuff. But I'm gonna say, and I may get in trouble for this, but no one like that. No one put their hands on a female like the way that guy hit Snooki. So no, not that, but there is definitely some serious stuff that we talk about.
All right, lots to look forward to every week, 10, 9 Central on MTV. So, Robbie, something that I thought was really interesting about this season is that you're actually able to have your cell phones to text and call. What was
a
your reaction?
lot of people think that we had our cell phones.
That was just fake?
Those weren't our cell phones. Those were not our cell phones.
See,
production gave us those cell phones, the day that we moved in. This was the way for us to communicate with our roommates. And, soon to be now Bad Bloods came in. We were able to communicate with them. You go to a bar, you get separated. It's hard to, get back in touch with those people. And then also there's now 14 people in the house. And in seasons past, there has been a lot less people, and there's one community phone where it was a lot easier to share one phone between 7 people. So 14 people was a little crazy. And, I talk to my family a lot. I talk to my friends a lot. I'm pretty close, not pretty close, extremely close to my family. I talk to my mom in the morning, my dad in the morning, and then I talk to them at night as well. So I would have definitely ate up a lot of the phone time. So I was extremely happy to see that we had these phones. But, these phones weren't ours. We had to give them back at night so they can download everything that was on them, that they were able to check everything. We weren't able to go on the Internet. There was just, text messaging and dialing out.
So do you think that the producers kind of messed up in a sense that basically a lot of you knew that your Bad Blood was coming because your friends from home were texting you social media posts? Is that correct? And that's how you were able to kind of figure out who was going to be coming?
It definitely helped put the pieces together. I do not think that they messed up by giving us the phones. I think it actually added more anticipation. When you see tonight's episode, you're going to see how shook up we were and how really, truly nervous we were. I think it actually added to the effect of the Bad Bloods coming into the house, that we knew that there was something coming. We didn't know exactly what. We didn't know that they were staying, and we didn't know for how long until they came. So I definitely think it added. It made it a lot tougher on me.
All right, so lots of animals on the show tonight, and I'm not just talking about the Bad Bloods coming into the house. You're going to have an interaction
now,
with
you're talking about my man Dave, correct?
Not Jeffrey the giraffe from Toys R Us, but your man Dave.
No.
Just tell everybody a little about that, how they ended up getting you to the zoo.
We went to the zoo. I was so adamant about petting something. I wanted to touch an exotic animal in the worst way. And, our tour guide, she pulled us off to the giraffe area, and she goes, "Everybody meet Dave." And, they first, they said, put your hand out. They'll eat the leaf right out of your hand, Dave. And then I ended up putting a piece of the grass in my mouth, and Dave pulled it on out. Scary stuff with a tongue that big coming at you.
Oof, I can only imagine from the past days of going to Six Flags and having the animals come to the car. That was just terrifying part of my childhood.
We're from the same area, definitely. Remember when the monkeys would rip the windshield wipers off the cars when you drove?
I mean, that's why I think now you can't drive your own car in there anymore, right, John? You have to like jump in some sort of bus or something in the park.
Yeah, Jackson, New Jersey, Six Flags. That's where it was real.
Yeah. All right. So, you had a group outing to the zoo. Now, when you're doing these group outings on the show, was that planned by the producers, or would somebody be like, "Let's go here this night," and then you have to set it up? How would that work?
No, me pretty much. I would sit down at the computer, and the girls did some of this as well. You find places that you want to go, and then you email the producers and say, "Hey, I'm interested in trying to, go to the zoo, go to the beach. I want to go to the gym or a store." You have to put in a request to go there and see if they can approve it. So a lot of places said, "Yeah, sure, come on in," and then some places didn't, which is very understandable. It's a lot to have cameras in your spot. But the zoo was very welcoming. They brought us in, and they showed us around, and they gave us a tour.
Okay, and so will you have to pay for some of these activities out of pocket, or is the producers working that out with the places that you're going to?
The show wouldn't really take care of any of that. It's more the places that we would went to. They would say, "Hey, come in. We would love to have you." And then there were some times that, we had to pay. We're still regular people. We're part of a social experiment. Production did take care of us in different ways. They take us to dinners and stuff like that, which you'll see. And, they were able to set up plenty of stuff. They worked their rears off. I don't want to say any curse words on your show, but production was absolutely amazing. They really made everything super easy, and, they're great people.
So did you have any, sort of stipend or weekly pay for food or whatnot? Because other than you cooking eggs, I haven't seen anybody know how to cook on the show so far. How are you guys able to get your food?
You kind of go out there with the intent that you're going to be on a show and prepare yourself to spend a little money and take care of yourself. The show helps out a little bit, and but at the end of the day, this is a social experiment. You get put out there, and you're there to adapt and work, and if you needed of it, the production wouldn't hold you against getting a job if you needed to. So no one really went and seeked out a job because they wanted to enjoy the experience. But I think we all went in there with the mindset that we were gonna, have to work or find other means to make ends meet. But we did get a little bit, and that was able to help us out with food and stuff like that.
So I mean, I don't know about your season. I'll ask Gary now, but the previous 5 seasons, I talked to other cast members from those shows. Subway was the official sponsor of the show, and the cast members got as much free Subway as they wanted, whenever they wanted.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get any Subway.
That's a shame, because and that was some great marketing by MTV, because there would be at least 2 scenes per show in Subway. But I guess that partnership fell through. But that would have been great to have all the free Subway. So we're talking about the living area here. What was your reaction when you first saw the loft, the house?
My first reaction was wow, it's actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. My only problem that I had with that was I don't know if I would have really used it, but in past seasons, every house had a jacuzzi. So it was pretty bummed not to see a jacuzzi and not to see an outdoor patio. I really wish that there was an outdoor patio to just go out on with a grill and grill some food up and stuff like that. But other than that, the space was awesome. We had a pool table. It was so huge. I had a closet to myself. But a lot of the bad bloods didn't really know I had my own closet. So I guess
how unfortunate or unlucky were Theo and Tia that they didn't even have a room. They were basically overlooking the common space. It looked like
they had the best room in the house. I don't want to hear that. They had the best room in the house.
Well, it was wide open though. Was it pretty loud up there? I mean, well, you know better than us.
You couldn't see up there. That was the only area in the house that you had some type of privacy. My room was in the middle of the mix through everything. Honestly, I wish I took that loft. I walked in there, I said, I'm not walking upstairs every night. No way, no how. I wish I took that loft. That loft is like a sanctuary.
All right, so there you have it for those of you that are wondering and sending us some questions and comments. The loft was actually the best room in the house because it was out of the way from everybody else. So now you're getting some sort of celebrity status. How has it been so far adjusting to being known nationwide and getting more Twitter followers, Instagram followers, etc.? And how do you plan to deal with it when, the weeks going forward, your following is going to grow even more and more?
Well, man, I hope it does grow. I really do. Honestly, I love interacting with my fans. It's crazy. I have fans. It blows my mind every time I say that and hear that from somebody else. But, yes, my Instagram has gone up pretty well. My Twitter has gained a lot of followers, Snapchat, my YouTube channel, stuff like that is all built up. And, I get a lot of great messages. I love hearing from people, and I continue to keep answering my fans. I don't want people to think that I'm ignoring them and just haven't gotten around to their message just yet. But I will, and, the celebrity status going up. Right now, I'm kind of like a local celebrity. I go to the gym. People ask me, oh, how is Seattle? I was flipping through the channels, and a commercial came on, and I saw you, and then I watched the show. It's so crazy. I'm still adapting, so I don't know how to really feel right now, but I think in a few weeks when the show gets more traction and I gain more followers, it's going to be really, really surreal.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. You sent me a Facebook message asking me to be on your talk show, and that's really cool. I'm getting messages like that, which is blowing my mind.
Yeah, it's got to be probably the coolest feeling in the world. Get all these media requests now. What months were you there filming the show?
I was there from June to September.
Okay, so just in the middle of summer. Because I think the last season, Bad Blood, they were actually there through Thanksgiving and Christmas. I remember they were there in the fall. Yeah, so definitely probably better to go there in the summer. Not have to worry about.
I think we definitely lucked out.
Definitely. All right, so a couple of quick questions here about your roommates, and I'm sure John has some as well. Who is the cleanest person in the house to live with, and who was just the dirtiest that would just leave their clothes or dishes anywhere?
Wow, you're putting me on the spot, man. Cleanest? I want to say I was pretty much a clean freak. I tried to really keep everything clean. I never kept my shower stuff in the shower. I had a shower caddy, and I'd bring it in and out. If there was dishes, I would make sure to clean my dish. I'd get pissed off if people never clean their dishes and clean stuff after themselves. The dirtiest people, the dirtiest person. I don't know if there's just one. I think they're all pretty dirty.
Yeah, for me, I could never live with these strangers. I'm such a neat freak, and I hate to be clean, and I would just be so skeeved out. So I don't know how you did it, sharing with all these people.
I really, I labeled my food and stuff. I kept it on my own shelf. I really tried to keep my stuff together. I hid my toiletries so nobody could go near them. Like I said, didn't leave them in the shower. I had a collection of a couple of towels, so I make sure my towels stood in my room. And, I hid stuff away just so I knew I had stuff. I even hid, once we started, running out of toilet paper and stuff like that, I snagged a roll or two, and I hid it for a rainy day.
John, I mean, you had all the experience living with the tight sections with when you were in the Marines. Do you have any questions for Robbie in regards to just living space?
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. Oh, I had a shared shower in the Marine Corps as well. We had when I lived in the squad bay, we had 150 people in this big giant hallway, and you got to be clean for inspections, everything. But other than that, during the weekend and stuff, some of those guys were slob kebabs. The whole place would be a mess. I would have to wear shower shoes.
John, listen, I want to just pause the conversation real quick. I want to thank you for your service and everything that you've done for this country, man. All our armed services, all our men and women fighting for us and protecting us really, really does mean a lot, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
All right, yeah, as we always say, John, thank you for your service. And unlike some other people in this media thrown out there with this label, you are a true American hero. Robbie, back to some questions here about the roommates. Which bad blood did you get along with the best and the worst?
I really can't talk on the bad bloods just because you have to see how the season plays out.
All right. How about?
But that will become apparent real soon.
All right. Looking forward to it tonight. And so, which of your original roommates did you get along with best? And do you still talk to anybody on a daily or weekly basis?
We all talk. We have a big group chat. We all chat each other, the new people and, the OGs. So, we all pretty much stay in contact with each other. But, the person I think I got along with the best from my original OG roommates, I think, was my man Theo.
Yeah, you and Theo, you seem to have a great bond there. So it's really no surprise. Now, I don't know if you could really go in depth here, really, but what's like the coolest thing you were able to do on the show, or was there, or just more generally, if you can answer that, was there things you were able to do on the show, like activity-wise, that you never thought were possible before that you really enjoy doing?
There's something coming up that I did that I don't think anybody would ever be able to do in their whole entire lives. I don't even think it's available to do in New Jersey.
Oh boy,
it's pretty cool. It's definitely, there's definitely some scary parts in it, and it's overcoming fears, and it's definitely something that it will be a nail biter. But I did do something really freaking cool, other than DJing out there. I DJ'd at a few spots out there. I did some pretty cool stuff when I was DJing. I'm a little bit out of my mind. I'm not just your conventional guy that stands behind a booth and plays music, so I really got to interact with a lot of the crowds.
So what we were able to see is you do a lot of college events. Specifically, I've seen a bunch with Rutgers. Do you have any affiliation with the school beforehand? Did you go there or anything, or they were just they knew who the best person was to get the college kids going and contacted you?
Well, the company I work for, Hurricane Productions, the owners are graduates from Rutgers University, and they were able to build a great business relationship with Rutgers, and we continue to do a lot of work with them. And, I go to Brookdale on and off. I like to say I donate money every once in a while. And, the plan is to, eventually end up at Rutgers sooner or later, and, maybe they'll just, induct me as a graduate and give me a degree. And
maybe you can get the honorary PhD. Just forget about the bachelor's and master's. Get the PhD, and you could be Dr. Bazarabi.
I took a convocation and everything.
So we all know one of your signature things is your hair. Obviously, you said how many bottles of hair gel you brought with you. How many did you end up using throughout the show?
I think I brought 3 bottles home with me.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I brought 3 home with me. I actually didn't gel my hair as much as I thought I was going to. I ended up wearing a hat a lot of the time. We went to the gym during the day. Yeah, it was easier. I threw a hat on and then stepped out. But every time we went out, my hair was done. So yeah, I went through a lot of freaking gel.
All right, so before I let you go, and we're sorry we're running over here because we did promise NCB Press we'd have you off a little earlier, so we'll try to wrap this up as quickly as possible. We know you're from New York, New Jersey area like us, and we know you're a big sports fan. And we know you're a New York Giants fan like us. So what's your take on their season so far?
Man, I kind of feel like a Mets fan now. Transfer over into the NFL. I love the Giants.
We're big Mets fans as well.
Head, man. I'm shaking my head. They got to get it together. I don't know what they're doing. I'm always going to be a fan, diehard fan. But let's get it together. Let's win another Super Bowl. Let's be a team.
Let's hope so, because as of right now, I'm already looking forward to spring training with the Mets because the Giants season.
Oh, I'm excited for spring training, man. I'm excited. They're getting back up on that mound. I know my man Thor's going to come start throwing some heat, and we're coming. We're coming for a World Series. This year it's the Cubbies' chance. I think they deserve it. I think they really deserve it, so I want them to work hard.
They got lucky because if the Mets had their pitching rotation, I don't know if the Cubs would have been able to get any hits off the Mets. And I think the Mets could have probably, I don't know if they would have beat the Giants because they just couldn't score. That was a heartbreaking day. But yeah, Mets spring training, hopefully it's right around the corner. It's still pretty far away. I'm kind of sick of Ben McAdoo and his ginormous play calling sheet, which looks like the size of a cheesecake menu, and every single play is just a draw screen to a tight end. It's terrible. So, John, you have any last remarks here for our special guest this evening, Robbie Padavano?
So, Robbie, before you go, what's your plan? What's your next move? Like, what you got in the works?
The next thing I got in the plan is, I'm going to start touring, man. I really want to start traveling. I want to start playing some big shows. In the first episode, the last episode, you saw us all sitting around the fire, and we all wrote down a goal on a piece of paper and threw it into the fire. And my goal was to, still is to play for over 100,000 people within the next year. So that's my plan, and I'm about to really start grinding with that, especially now that the show is picking up. We're 4 episodes in, and it's only going to get stronger from here.
All right, so there you have it. Robbie Padavano, our special guest this evening. You learned a lot about him. We want to thank you for tuning in to hear him. And Robbie, before you go one more time, what is your website, your YouTube page, your current company you work for, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat?
All right, so on all social media, just search Maserobby, Maserobbiee. Yes, it is a double E. My website is www.maserobby.com. Make sure you go check that out. YouTube channel, make sure you like and subscribe. We put out weekly videos on there. And also the company I work for is Hurricane Productions. We're based out of Red Bank, New Jersey. We go anywhere and everywhere. And, guys, I want to just say thank you for having me on the show. And we'll talk real soon.
All right, Robbie, thanks for coming on. Best of luck, and we're looking forward to tonight and the rest of the season. And best of luck with everything going forward.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robbie.
All
right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you had Robbie Padavano. He's basically at Maserobby on every sort of social media. Check out his YouTube page, his website. Great guy. John, what did you think of that interview? I thought it was very revealing into the background of reality TV for the most part.
Yeah. I thought, I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe it's the Hollywoodness. I thought there was, more control, and, it took longer, but, yeah, he was there over the summer. Now, it's October, it's the fall, and he's already, what I mean? I guess reality TV, they're not, reshooting stuff. It's all live, and then they just cut it up. But,
so I guess for the most part, the real world is real. It doesn't seem like anything was like other reality shows, they're like, oh, talk about this. Seemed to me everything was real, and Robbie seems like a real guy, and we wish him the best of luck. And now, John, we have about 10 minutes left in our show, and we were just talking about the Giants for Robbie, so let's get right into it. Our NFL Week 7 recap, Week 8 look ahead, and at this moment in time, on Wednesday, October 26th, it's the 4th inning of the World Series. The Indians are up 1-9, and the Cubs are currently leading 2-0 in the 4th. But to the NFL, last week, as you predicted, and I predicted as well, the Giants went to London, had to play at 9:30 a.m., ruining my whole morning with commuting, and they beat the Rams 17-10. I can't remember a more unimpressive victory than this one. I don't know about you. What do you think? The offense was atrocious.
Listen. A W is a W. You ever hear that about baseball when it's a weak grounder up the middle and they go, oh, there'll be a line drive in the paper tomorrow. Listen, it's a victory. The Rams are a bad team, even though I picked them to win their division. Listen, their quarterback situation is tough. The Giants' running game is still very, very, very bad. But I have to give credit where credit is due. The defense has been playing much better the last 2 weeks. Steve Spagnuolo, even though his roster that he's working with, the talent that he has isn't the best. He's getting the most out of it.
Spagnuolo is a fantastic defensive coordinator. I mean, he's just styling up all these different plays, which is what something McAdoo should do in the offense. But, my biggest takeaway from this game would be that why is CBS and the NFL Network calling it Thursday Night Football? It's the furthest thing from Thursday Night Football. It's Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. How is that even close to a Thursday night? It's ridiculous.
You know what? I know that, I was on Twitter during the game and all the Giant fans were bitching, but I'm an old fart and I have a kid, so I'm up at that time anyway. So I actually kind of liked it because instead of watching, Little Einsteins or, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, I was able to watch a Giant game. My daughter actually really likes the Giant games because the crowd gets wild and stuff, and then I get excited. She gets a kick out of that.
Listen, I don't know. I mean, that makes total sense, but I like my Thursday Night Football on Thursday night. But I really don't like Thursday Night Football either. That's just a waste. This night, Thursday night, we got the Jaguars and Titans tomorrow. Well, what a slap knocker that's going to be. And then we also, other notable games. The Jets won because I can't believe how bad the Ravens were. And then, typical results around the league. Bengals won, Eagles won, which was shocking. Chiefs beat the Saints, Colts beat Titans in a terrible division. Redskins lost to the Lions. Woohoo! The Raiders won, one of my playoff picks. The Chargers, who we both like, actually won in overtime. They're the best team with a losing record. They have an incredible offense. Patriots won again. What a surprise. And then the Buccaneers beat the 49ers. Who really cares? Two terrible teams. The Dolphins beat the Bills. Jay Ajayi was incredible. Only the fourth player of all time to go over 200 yards in back-to-back games, joining like some O.J. Simpson who did it twice, Earl Campbell, and Ricky Williams. But we got to talk about and the Monday night game was terrible. Broncos, the Texans. With the Texans, they've reached rock bottom. Brock Osweiler's been really bad. But the Sunday night game, I don't know why I watched the end of that game from that fourth quarter through overtime. 6-6 tie, 2 missed field goals in overtime. Never seen anything like it. Did you see any of that game?
Yeah, I did. I was smart enough to turn it off, though. A tie is like, kissing your cousin, they say. It's terrible. Like, first of all, we're in America. We're not soccer. I don't like ending any ties. They should just play it out. I think that's silly. Also, 6-6, yuck. That's bad football. I bet they wish they didn't pick that in the primetime slot.
Well, on paper, it's a great game, but you could just show it was just an offensive struggle. The defenses were great. So let's move on to Week 8 here. Unfortunately, the Giants aren't playing, so I have a minimal interest in watching football this weekend. And it's a real shame. It really is. But we do have another New York team in action. The Jets are going to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Kevin Hogan, the newest Cleveland Browns quarterback. I think it's like the 8th one they have this year. I think Kevin Hogan and the Browns are primed to get their first victory of the season. What do you think?
Listen, the Jets stink. I actually just picked up the Jets defense in my fantasy team because I had the Bills, and the Bills are playing the Patriots, and I was like, no thanks. So I'll try the Jets with, whoever Cleveland finds in the streets of Cleveland. You know what? They're both bad teams, but the Jets are much better. All they need to do is not turn the ball over. Can Geno do that? I don't know. Will they go back to Fitzpatrick at some point? I don't know. There's a lot of things up in the air.
Well, Geno is out for the year. He has a torn ACL, so Fitzpatrick will be starting. Will be starting Sunday. Yes.
And so it's Fitzpatrick. Who's going to be the backup?
The backup is Bryce Petty.
Oh, I thought he was still banged up.
He is, but he's still going to be the backup because they need to dress somebody.
Oh, geez, good luck. I think Fitzpatrick gives them a better chance to win than, even though how bad he's been this year.
I mean, I hate Geno. I'm sure you do too. But man, this guy's got some terrible luck.
Yeah, he stinks. Listen. The broken jaw wasn't bad luck. He was an asshole and got his face beaten in by some guy on his own team. But you know what? His career is essentially over. I'm going Jets.
All right. So the Jets. There's a bunch of other games going on this week, but it's a bye week, so we don't have too many games. We only have 12 games 11 games Sunday, 12 games overall with Thursday night and Monday night. Monday night game, it's not going to be pretty. Vikings-Bears. Vikings coming off a loss. Jay Cutler's coming back, so we wish him the best of luck. Here's the game of the week in my view. The Chargers are taking on the Broncos in Denver. Now, the Chargers have been in every game. They're one of the best offenses of football. They're only, I think, a game out of first place, or maybe 2 games out of first place. I actually think the Chargers are going to go into Denver this week and pull off the upset in the AFC West, beat the Broncos. They're going to become they'll be a 500 team now at 4-4. How do you feel about this game? Chargers, Broncos. Me and you both agree. Philip Rivers is a really good quarterback.
Yeah, the quarterback edge obviously goes right to the Chargers. He's much better. I don't even know who the kid's name that's starting for the Broncos.
Trevor Siemian.
Simeon. Yeah, I guess Simeon's back, so that's a little bit better. But yeah, still the defense. So this is really a battle of a team that's better defensively versus a team that's better offensively. So it's going to be a pretty good battle. You know what? That's kind of a stretch. It's in Denver.
Yes.
That's a bigger stretch, man. When I picked the Chargers to do really well this year, that was before my man Danny Woodhead was out for the year.
Hunter Henry's been great for the Chargers, by the way.
I know it. I'm actually good. You know what? I'll go with you. I'm going to take the Chargers to upset them.
As Arnold Schwarzenegger says, "Go Chargers, go!" And then the other game I wanted to highlight here. First we got the Bengals playing the Redskins in London again, 9:30 p.m. I'm going to say in one word answer here, and I'll give it the same. Bengals are going to win. Who do you got?
Bengals.
All right, great. And then we got the Eagles playing the Cowboys Sunday night. Let's hope for 2 weeks in a row a tie on Sunday night. How great would that be?
That would be perfect. Unlikely, but perfect.
All right. So real quick here, we got like 2 minutes before outro music hits. And once again, I want to thank everybody for listening to the show tonight, and we hope you enjoyed our special guest Mazarabi on the show. So let's talk a little bit World Series right now. Did you watch last night's game at all?
No, I watched the highlights.
All right.
Cleveland and Chicago, man. The Cubs and the Indians, you could have asked me to name the combination of teams in the World Series this year, and I could have named 100 different ones that weren't these two teams.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. I had Cleveland in the ALCS, but I thought they were going to lose to the Blue Jays. You had the Red Sox and the Mets and the Giants in the World Series. I thought the Giants were going to get there as well. But we didn't have a chance to talk because this World Series is set up after our last show on Wednesday. Who do you have winning this series?
I'm going Cleveland.
Cleveland, all right. They won last night. I actually think that for some reason I think the Cubs are going to win the next 4 games and end it in 5 in Chicago. It's going to be absolutely mayhem in Chicago. It's really weird because I want the Cubs to win for their fan base, but I don't like a lot of guys on the Cubs. I like Rizzo, I like Bryant, I like their starting pitchers, but a lot of these guys I can't really stand. How about Schwarber coming back from an ACL tear or whatever, and his first at bat, he gets the first hit of the season is a double in the World Series.
I actually kind of like him. I think he's kind of like one of those weird gritty guys that can hit, but not necessarily a great fielder. I'm on the same boat as you, though. I don't really like any of the players so much, but I really like Terry Francona. I think that guy's hilarious.
I love Terry. And real quick, this is a matchup with the greatest coach and manager in history, Terry Francona, going up against the greatest GM in history, Theo Epstein. They made history with the Red Sox. They're looking to make history now with their respective teams.
Yeah, that's Theo Epstein gets a lot of hate, especially on Twitter. But you got to give it to him, man. He's done it twice now. It's not a fluke.
Absolutely. All right, so John's got the Indians. I got the Cubs. Recapping our picks real quick. John's got the Jets. I got the Browns.
ucy.com.